As I thought we would, a lot of calls, and that's good because these are complicated issues the president and his team are facing while on the campaign trail. You've got to balance this along with all the elections and with, of course, primaries coming up in South Carolina, and then, of course, Super Tuesday, the Supreme Court case last week, and now back at the Supreme Court this week, which we could learn a lot by the end of the week on what happened on the 14th Amendment.
The Supreme Court could also say, we're not going to hear it now. We want it to go back to trial. We want it to go to trial. We want to see what the facts that are proved are, then make a determination as to whether those were official acts or not, then go to the Court of Appeals, then go to the Supreme Court of the United States. The only thing there is that at that point you would have had an adjudication of guilt, and that goes to Andy's point of, is that interfering with an election? Are we close enough where it's interfering? And technically, it's got to be 90 days out, so that would be
pretty close.
August, be really close by the time you try it. Yes.
Especially because the 90-day out rule, does that start when people can early vote now? Because you could add that almost like the 120-day rule.
True.
That's true.
In many states. I mean,
true.
I think, it starts getting too fishy for a true Democratic
I think it already is.
Republic.
I think they'd be better off putting stays on everything.
It's why Jack
Go
Smith
have an
tried to
election,
jump over.
see who wins, and then adjudicate it out. If Trump wins, obviously these cases go away.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Mary Ellen on line 6. Been hold on. Hey, Mary Ellen.
Hello.
Hi.
What I find amazing is, as I'm sitting here thinking about all this, I separate theory from facts. I call the immunity thing the theory. President Trump, nor any of those other hundreds who were convicted and tried and so on, were tried and convicted on insurrection. And it's like, how can we start talking about immunity about that when he never was even convicted?
Okay, that's conflate. Don't conflate which I know it's hard, Mary Ellen. The insurrection issue goes to the 14th Amendment access to the ballot case has already been submitted to the Supreme Court. All of our briefs are in. The case has been argued. We're waiting for an opinion. The case that Jack Smith has brought is not one on insurrection. It's interfering with an act of Congress and charges related to that, which, by the way, that charge is up on review by the Supreme Court of the United States now as well. And they've already granted certiorari in that, which is another reason why this case should not be proceeding. You've got one of the main charges against the president where Judge Katsas in the lower court, the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, said, you know what, it's being interpreted too broadly and interferes with the First Amendment. That's one of the 4 charges, and it's the main charge against Trump. Let all of this play out legally before you have a trial of a president during an election.
Yeah, it's
very why would you
confusing.
just do it that way?
Like you said, even for us who practice
Yes.
here, there are just so many issues, so many cases going on. They need to all be put on a stay so that we can actually have an election and not be having all these cases interfere with people's right to vote.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Daniel in North Dakota on line 1. Hey, Daniel.
Is the 90-day rule, does that not include the primaries? Because we all have to go to the primaries in every state. And also the second impeachment, didn't that cover the insurrection that Trump went under?
But I'll answer the second impeachment one. Andy can answer the 90-day rule. The insurrection he was acquitted on, but that is not res judicata or I don't think double jeopardy because it's not a judicial proceeding. It's a political proceeding, and those are different. Andy?
Yeah, it's the U.S. Attorney Manual and the ruling of the Attorney General that came out in 2008 says never institute criminal charges for affecting any election or giving one advantage or disadvantage to any candidate or political party, and that would include the primaries, I would think.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, you're really you're in the midst of it.
You're in the midst of the season.
I think we're in danger territory here, Harry.
Also means that the Supreme Court could punt. There's a lot of potential punts.
Oh yeah, they could punt on this. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they do. I won't be shocked if they say nope, go try it,
or no,
or don't try it because it's too late.
Well, I think we should adopt the anti-economy rule.
That we're already in it.
Yeah.
I tend to think that, too. We're already in the election. I mean, so this, I think everything should stop.
I mean, we are.
Go have
Why did you wait 3.5 years
election.
to bring these charges?
You wait almost 4 years, and now you're doing it, and it happens to coincide with an election, and it happens to be the two that are running. Biden's Justice Department's going after the former president, who happens to be the leader of the Republican Party right now. And as Andy said in the memo, it says elections. It doesn't say general election only. Let's say another call.
Yeah, this is an interesting question from Deb in New Jersey on line 2, because it's what's going to be in the voters' minds if there was a conviction of one of these serious
Let you handle
charges.
this one.
Jack Smith. Hey, Deb.
Yes, hi. So, yeah, I have to agree with you 100% that this is definitely intimidation of the voters. I don't know how they get away with this, because he's the only one we know that is really, truly able to fight this American-style Marxism we see going on here today. And I'm a little concerned, but I think if people knew, if we could actually get behind him and say he can get the job done, even if he were behind bars for however long that was, then we would still vote for him. I really believe that, because I don't see any other candidate who seems to be up to the job for doing that. My first question is, I know we've never been here before, but could he do that possibly? And the second question is, all these people coming across the border getting free driver's licenses, can they now vote?
No, you have to. I mean, technically, they should not be able to vote. You have to be a citizen and registered to vote. Is there voter fraud with people who try to register and then show up on the same day and say, "Oh, you're not there"? Well, you could do it. You could do a provisional ballot. Maybe that'll count. Maybe that won't count. It's kind of the system that we trust the system to work. I mean, it's always dangerous when you have an influx of people that have IDs, but say, I thought I was supposed to vote here. And so I can at least vote provisionally. Those are supposed to get tossed out. Second, that first question, can you govern from behind bars? I mean, the answer is technically yes. There's no bar to being president if you are in prison. I don't see a president actually or former president serving what we think of as a classic prison term. And if they win election, I mean, Dad, what do you think about it? I mean,
If they win election, I think that would interfere with the president's, Article 2 responsibilities.
I think that is correct.
So that's it.
They couldn't enforce it.
But I also think there are plenty of Trump haters out there who would try to misinterpret the rules in order to invalidate his presidency.
I agree. Daniel, last call. You're on the air from New Mexico.
Hey, thank you for the work you do. My question is it possible, whatever the opinion is from the court, that the secretaries of state will not abide by it?
No. If the Supreme Court makes a decision, it is Marbury versus Madison. It is the law of the land. That will be the end, which is one reason I think they may punt on this.
And all those court decisions left that in there. Even the courts in Colorado said subject to Supreme Court review.
Right.
So they weren't even trying to say, like, we don't care what the Supreme Court says. They say, yeah, we know this is new. So if the Supreme Court changes what we thought, we're going to abide by the Supreme Court. So I haven't seen anywhere where a state who's trying to kick him off the ballot has said, and we're going to ignore the highest court in the land.